Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
Somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine.
Sheryl Swoopes seems to be the biggest critic of Caitlin Clark out there.
Every time Caitlin gets fouled, we can't make it seem like she was assaulted. Why like a Stephen A. Smith? It was that important to you to run the Kennedy Carter hip check, right? That was everywhere. But yet, you didn't even discuss what Alyssa Thomas did to Angel Reese.
This former WNBA star has been vocal about her disdain, especially as she prepares to appear on the Unapologetically Angel podcast with Angel Reese. Angel asked for questions to be directed at Swoopes, and the comment section lit up with Caitlin Clark fans who really let her have it. Even before the season kicked off, Swoopes was throwing shade at Clark. She made some dismissive comments, even laughing at the thought of Clark leading the league in assists.
So, for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, like, first of all, black people can't be racist, but, like, that's the farthest thing from my mind, that I speak up for people that look like me.
In a post by Dijonai Carrington, Swoopes joked about Clark's potential, saying Caitlin might lead the league in assists this year, and added laughing emojis, clearly mocking the idea. Fast forward to last night, and Caitlin Clark made history by achieving her 317th assist, breaking the WNBA record for most assists in a single season.
I think I'll just be the female version of Steph Curry.
I mean, you hear people talking about you and throwing out those comparisons. Speak about how that makes you feel, about how you've just taken the world by storm because of your shooting prowess.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm still kind of in a dream, in a real world. I mean, it's kind of crazy, obviously. Those are the players I kind of grew up watching. Obviously, Steph Curry's kind of changed the game, and he's a player I grew up loving. I still love. I watch him all the time. So it's kind of crazy seeing all those NBA players, WNBA players tweet about you, talk about you. But
this record isn't just for rookies. It's the highest ever for any player, rookie or veteran.
Saw a white girl in Iowa do it to a bunch of black girls. Well, of course. That made it like, oh, that gained my respect. That gained my respect.
I hear you. You're
like,
right.
That's like, oh, she didn't do this to some other little white girls that was over here in Colorado, wherever. She did it to some girls from LSU who we thought was some dogs.
Defending champs.
And put them on their knee and spanked them.
Naturally, this prompted many to revisit Swoopes' earlier comments, highlighting how wrong she was. While Dijonai Carrington may not be a fan of Clark, she recognized her talent early on. The reaction to Clark's record-breaking moment was explosive, and one has to wonder how Swoopes is handling it.
First time we got women's basketball ahead of men's basketball. If you ain't in a Steph Curry shape, that's how she plays, bro.
Right.
You
I think she can give you 10 points in the NBA game.
Nah, she gonna give you more than 10. She can shoot, and she got work, bro.
It's still
what?
Athleticism from the men is overwhelming.
It ain't tough no more. You can't hand check.
Seeing Clark achieve such a milestone in her rookie season must have been quite a blow for her. Swoopes is likely feeling pretty frustrated right now.
You women out there, y'all petty, man. Hey, LeBron, you're 100% right on these girls hating on Caitlin Clark. Y'all petty, girls. I expect men to be petty because we're the most insecure group in the world.
Oh, you are.
Y'all should be thanking that girl for getting y'all ass private charters, all the money and visibility she bringing to the WNBA. Don't be petty like dudes.
So, for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, like, first of all, black people can't be racist, but, like, that's the farthest thing from my mind.
Sheryl Swoopes really needs to let go of her negativity and focus on her own career. People have been calling her out big time for this.
Here's the reality. Tommy's right. It's not just race, though. It's also sexuality. Caitlin Clark is a white heterosexual woman in a black lesbian league, and they resent and are jealous of all of the attention and the shoe deal.
The funny part, Caitlin Clark isn't just leading the league. She's setting records in her very first year, making history in the WNBA. That's just hilarious.
I think she's in the Mount Rushmore, obviously. I don't, Cheryl Miller, and I don't know all their numbers to know who
it's a
that
bunch
should
of them, man.
be,
You
right?
got Candace Parker,
that's hard to
and
do.
Cheryl Miller,
right?
And Sheryl Swoopes. I mean, people be like,
Yeah.
Nah.
Generationally?
Yeah, she ridiculous.
She might be Allen Iverson in her era. She changed the game.
Well, she changed the game for
Right, she
sure,
changed
like
the game
Steph
from
Curry.
a culture.
She's
Steph Curry, yeah.
Even NBA players like Anthony Edwards and former player JJ Redick have weighed in.
I played LSU, but she's phenomenal. I'm going to go on the record and say she's the best female collegiate player ever. Ever? Well, I don't know about you. You ever heard of Sheryl Miller, Maya Moore? I said what I said. Diana Taurasi. I said what I said.
Redick pointed out that Swoopes played in a time when the competition wasn't as skilled, joking that she was up against meter maids and lunch ladies. It's clear that Caitlin Clark has taken up permanent residence in Swoopes' mind.
I think the biggest challenge has just been the fact that we've only had like 24 days together. I think that's presents a big challenge for our team, especially a really young team and an inexperienced team. So a team that's trying to find their chemistry and how they work together, I would say that's probably the biggest challenge for us. But I think as you've watched us over the course of the first 4 games, like from the first time we played Connecticut to this last time we played Connecticut at home, like there's been a huge difference in how we play and how we play together, and that's just within 4 games. So I think there's a lot of positives, a lot to build off of, but I would say that's probably the biggest challenge to us right now, having to go from, game, practice, game, and really those practice times you can't really do much when you're preparing for your next opponent.
And it looks like she owns the place now. Someone really needs to check on Sheryl Swoopes. I heard she went on a drinking spree after Caitlin broke that record. It's like she's getting upset all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously been a whirlwind. There, hasn't been much time to sit down and reflect on, the journey of the course of my college year and then coming right into here. So, it is what it is. I think just trying to soak in and enjoy every single moment. But yeah, it's definitely been a whirlwind. So just like one thing after the next, but at the same time, I feel like, that's kind of almost better. Like you just kind of get thrown into the fire, and that's sometimes the best way to learn too.
Let's be real though. I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to spin this into a victim narrative. Maybe she'll claim it's some sort of conspiracy against her. One person even said they didn't even know who she was. It's pretty amusing. Will she ever recognize Caitlin's talent, or will she stay bitter?
This is a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon. And if I said to any of these people who think Caitlin Clark is not the Rookie of the Year, I'd say, who would you want to start your franchise with? Now, I'm not going to put Asia Wilson in there. I'm just saying between these two. Angel Reese is a wonderful player, but she does not compare to what and who Caitlin Clark is.
I doubt we'll see Swoopes give any credit. I can imagine in 10 years I'll still be here and Swoopes will be 87, still fuming while Caitlin continues to break records.
You know what the average attendance is when Caitlin Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300.
Honestly, it's just a bunch of jealousy. They can't stand how much better Caitlin is compared to any past or present player.
Speaking of freak athletes, Caitlin Clark effect has now hit the WNBA. It has been announced today.
It's crazy how they refuse to acknowledge her achievements. And now they're all trying to get something from her.
But the best basketball of the weekend, the best player in America, the best shooter in America, Caitlin Clark at Iowa.
It's so funny. If Sheryl Swoopes and Cynthia Cooper, who played alongside her, understood this, they'd see that Caitlin is bringing in a lot of money for many people.
One thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch.
It's shocking how little appreciation there is for that. It's a bit embarrassing, really.
It's not, there's no hyperbole here. Watch her play. She plays at a high level, highly skilled. She's the best passer in America, and she's the best shooter in America.
All these players with their college degrees and supposed intelligence don't seem to realize that their paychecks are linked to Caitlin's success.
Somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And then her just confidence, you can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. Crazy though, just because her shot is like that, it's at that level. If you really watch, her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package. On the fringe of breaking that record, and the amount of attention that she has gained over the course of these last couple of years. Every building she goes into, there's a different energy. It's great for her, great for women's basketball.
Maybe that's where all the hate is coming from. Maybe they realize this as they throw tantrums and act like spoiled kids.
Everybody else is jealous. They're pissed off because you're getting this it's ridiculous, and we're never going to advance as a species, and we're never if he keeps having that type of attitude. It's ridiculous. It's like what everything has to go back to race. Everything has to keep going back to race. She's really good. Let it be that. And the other players should shut the hell up. Nobody was talking about your league. Nobody cared about the WNBA until that girl. That girl, Caitlin Clark, I don't care what color she is. She's ridiculous. She's nasty. And now people are watching and you guys are talking shit about her.
Honestly, they should just enjoy their earnings and keep quiet. If I were Sheryl Swoopes, I'd be out there celebrating Caitlin Clark instead of criticizing her.
The league could not be in a more exciting place than it is right now.
Certainly, the attention on women's basketball right now is at an all-time high, and this league has been poised and ready for at least the last 2 decades for this moment. We have the star power. We have the elite play on the floor, but it's been a bit of a hidden gem. Well, it's not going to be hidden much longer, and a lot of that is because of this draft class and Caitlin Clark.
It's clear that Swoopes has some kind of issue with Clark, and her negativity was so blatant that she had to be taken off the broadcasts of Caitlin's games.
Sheryl Swoopes she's lighting herself on fire, Steve. They had to pull her off a game because she can't be trusted to call Caitlin Clark games correctly or fairly. They basically pulled her off the game for racism. You're too much of a bigot to call Caitlin Clark games. We're pulling you off the game.
Clark is proving a lot of experts wrong, and the fans are really rallying behind her.
No, hold on. I think you're a great basketball player. I mean, I can't play like you do.
Yeah, we know. And obviously, I can't tell jokes like you do.
It's hard not to think that there's a racial element to all this.
And you said there's been a robust conversation around the Final Four. I don't know what's bigger than robust, but it got even bigger this season. It's robustier this year. And how do we play? How do we build off of last year? More talent, more eyes on the game, more bodies here at the draft to cheer and celebrate this draft class. It's gotten better and better.
The situation feels off and doesn't quite add up. Many players entered the league hoping to be the next Caitlin Clark, especially big names like Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, and Aja Wilson.
Talking with Sue Bird, I think she uses a great word to describe what it's like watching Caitlin. And she says, it's thrilling. We know she's great. We know she's captivated the country. Why? What about Caitlin makes her so captivated?
Caitlin Clark is different from any other player we have ever seen in the women's game, and it starts with the distance with which she shoots the basketball. We've never seen a player shoot from that deep range with that kind of efficiency.
Speaking of Aja Wilson, she's an amazing player, but honestly, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch her unless it was an Indiana Fever game. That really seems to frustrate some people, but it's just how it is.
It was great. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. I thought we came in here and we competed hard. That was the thing. Like, we knew they were going to want to win, so we came out with the same mindset of wanting to win. I think we were down 2 at halftime, and I thought we started the third quarter really strong, and that's what kind of set the tone for that whole second half. And then never hurts when Enrique gets really hot like that. It's just kind of like give her the ball and let her do her thing.
It's all pretty petty and ugly. Swoopes seems envious that a white girl can excel on the court, and I think that's a fair observation. That's likely why there's so much ongoing bitterness.
The WNBA tried to capitalize on her popularity and crammed a lot of games in over a short amount of time, playing against the best teams in the WNBA.
Those relative season tickets now?
I mean, we might have to. Those are pretty expensive.
We'll make sure the
our
Fever gets
salaries,
working on that.
our salaries, it's like our entire salary to get those.
I have a feeling that eventually someone is going to take a cheap shot at Caitlin, and it's going to get messy.
Caitlin Clark now has the rookie record, the history of the WNBA, as she's now going to try to set the all-time record, but 12 games to go.
Imagine it happening during a nationally televised game. It would create a huge uproar.
There's a lot of appropriate attention on Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, and we found out that the Fever Storm game from over the weekend drew 2.2 million viewers, which is massive. The WNBA has 18 games this season where they've had more than 1 million viewers average, and 16 of those 18 have featured Caitlin Clark. So you cannot deny the connectivity of Caitlin Clark playing basketball and people wanting to watch. If she's playing, they will come, they will watch the game.
We've seen backlash before with players like Kennedy Carter and Diamond D. Shields, but if someone were to seriously injure Caitlin, it would be a whole different level of chaos.
The WNBA is becoming popular enough to increase salaries. You know, that's what the NBA does, and the NFL. They increase their salary cap. One of the things that's interesting the financials of the Indiana Fever, I don't know if you saw this, but there's a 1,193% increase in jersey sales with the Indiana Fever because of Caitlin Clark.
If blood starts flying on ESPN or ABC, the commissioner would have a lot to explain. Caitlin has already gained significant attention from mainstream media, and if something violent happens, it could blow up like a wildfire.
And you're going to continue to see, like 2000, this is a big deal in Indiana, 225% increase in corporate partnerships. You know, every season ticket is sold out. Listen to this one. Concession sales. I like this one in particular, Charlie. 2,826 gallons of beer have been sold.
Wow.
Draft beer. That's an increase of 740%. Hot dog sales up 300%.
Let's move to our second story. What a chaotic game between the Las Vegas Aces and the Indiana Fever.
A sensational rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership.
Caitlin Clark had another record-breaking performance, although she really struggled in the first half.
My mom before this is like, you know, I earned it, and that's why I'm so proud of it.
But that wasn't the main focus, because she completely turned things around in the third quarter. She went off and brought the Fever back into the game. However, the real headline is about Christy Sides. She's back and facing a lot of criticism today, and honestly, it's not surprising. Can she please get a technical foul for her own players once in a while? It's frustrating to watch her just stand there looking confused on the sidelines. Then she drew up one of the most confusing end-of-game plays ever. People are really tearing her apart for it. Last night, Caitlin Clark set the record for the most assists in a single season in WNBA history. Keep in mind, she's a rookie. This girl is on track to become a legend. The play was set for Kelsey Mitchell to cut around, and it was all set up for Clark to make history. She had a rough first half, scoring no points, but racking up 7 assists. But in the third quarter, she exploded, scoring 14 points. Yet when it came down to the final moments of the game, with the Fever trailing by 3, Christy Sides decided to draw up a play for Aaliyah Boston, not for her top scorers, Clark or Mitchell. Seriously? This is a major coaching blunder. Boston had a chance to tie the game with a 3-pointer, but missed it, sealing the Fever's fate. It's baffling that with 2 of the league's best shooters on the court, this was the best play Sides could come up with. Was it her plan all along, or was it improvised? Either way, it's hard to understand how she thought this was a good idea. Honestly, I couldn't care less about the coverage. I just don't want to hear that you designed a play for your big player. Right now, I'm baffled by Christy Sides. We seem to be stuck in the same situation we were in 8 weeks ago. Lexi Hull is leading the league in 3-point shooting, yet she should be fired. And don't get me started on Diana Taurasi, who also shoots better. If you're going to let a big shoot, why not let Aaliyah Boston take that shot? Personally, I'd always trust Kelsey Mitchell or Caitlin Clark with the ball. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe she would let Aaliyah Boston take that shot. Why would you choose a 29% 3-point shooter for such a crucial moment? It's mind-boggling. We have 3 of the best 3-point shooters in the league, and yet we can't get the ball to any of them? It's time to fire Christy Sides. But let's be real, they're not going to do that. She just won Coach of the Month. Be careful what you wish for. If they sneak into the playoffs, we're stuck with her. A coach's job is to create plays that get the best shooters open, and she clearly failed at that. Lexi Hull is leading the league in 3-point percentage, and that's just wild. This is a clear sign of inexperience in high-pressure situations. You never put the ball in the hands of your worst shooter when there are better options on the floor. It's just crazy. I'm not even going to dive into all the negativity because it might get this video demonetized. But seriously, it's your responsibility to create opportunities for Kelsey Mitchell or Caitlin Clark. This is unacceptable, and let's not forget about the free throw situation. 11 for 20 from the line. That's been a problem in previous games too. They finally made some shots, but this was the game they needed to win. The refs could do whatever they wanted, and Christy just stands there completely passive. I have zero respect for her because she doesn't fight for her players. She should be getting technical fouls so her players don't have to deal with that stress. How did the refs miss the forearm to Aaliyah's face? Why isn't Christy going off on the refs? It's unbelievable. Fun fact, she has 0 head coaching experience, not even in high school. There's no way we win a playoff game with her at the helm. It's wild. But honestly, it's kind of funny to see her treat time timeouts like they're collectibles. Let's be real. Christy Sides is the worst coach in basketball. No debate about it. This team could have 5 or 6 more wins with even average coaching. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They need a solid NBA coach. The Indiana Fever could really use someone like Mark Jackson or Larry Bird. I know Larry is older, but he could bring a few good years to the team. Mark Jackson has a lot of respect for Caitlin Clark, and with his experience from Golden State, he'd be a perfect fit for Indiana.